This video will explain how to do the brief truth tables in propositional logic software. So in section 10.2, Pospesel explains how to do a brief truth table, and you can do that in the software as well. So we'll pick one of his exercises from that and give it a try. So again, we're going to go to symbolizations. So I'm going to do chapter 10, exercise 16. So again, we're going to enter the premises. So this one says, if Jesus changes my water into wine, then he's divine. Therefore, he is not divine because he did not change my water to wine. So the conclusion is, let's just do that first. He is not divine. So not D. Because he did not change my water to wine is the second premise. So we'll do that next, not W. And then the first premise is, if Jesus changes my water into wine, then he's divine. So that's W, arrow D. Okay, so we can go to the truth tables. Come on. Okay, so by default, it takes you to a full truth table. But if you'd like to do a brief truth table, you can go to this where it says F up at the top, and you can toggle it to B. Now, I would suggest that you only do this for things that Pospesel or I tell you to do a brief truth table on. Because if you try to do this, try to do a brief truth table on a valid argument, it just doesn't work. So you can't just do it on any argument, one that you don't know if it's valid or invalid. So if I tell you to do a brief truth table on something, or if Pospesel tells you to do that, then you already know it's an invalid argument, and so you're just proving that it is. Okay. So we want to figure it out, and he very helpfully gives you, right, you want the premises to be true and the conclusion false. So we just have to figure out what assignment of truth values would make that the case. So we're going to start with the easy stuff. So either the conclusion or the second premise are easy places to start, because we know if we want the negation right, if we want not W to be true, well, then W has to be false. So just like the previous, with the full truth tables, we're going to click this arrow once to make it true, twice to make it false. So click it twice to make it false. And here, and see how it immediately filled in a truth value for W. And if I was to change this to true, I'm like, oh no, I really want it true. See, it changes it there, but I really did want it false. And it makes it false here. Now, just looking at the, not sure why it just put a T there. That I did not intend that. Let's skip that for a moment. I don't know how that got there. Hopefully we can get rid of it. Let's go to, I was going to say that it doesn't actually matter the truth. In terms of premise one, it doesn't actually matter the truth value of D. It could be true or it could be false. And it doesn't matter because the antecedent is false. And so that conditional is going to be true regardless. But it does matter for the conclusion. If we want the conclusion to be false, well, D has to be true. Okay, so I don't know why this is here. Hopefully that doesn't matter. So I have now come up with an assignment of truth values that makes the premises all true and the conclusion false. So I want to go with this and make it a check mark. And it should pop up a thing. I think let's just clear that. Okay, we're just going to start over. So this needs to be false. This needed to be true. And that makes, and so now we get the little pop-up. Because I had that stray T down below, it was messing things up. So what does this show? It demonstrates invalidity. And it goes, correct, you're right. And you get a little yellow smiley face over there. So that's how you do the brief truth tables. And by the way, if you wanted to do a brief truth table on some other exercise that I just, let's say, gave you the exercise, you could do that in here just by typing it in the sequence. So, let's see. No, that's doing other things that I'm not interested in. So I could just erase this. If I erase this and start typing in some other arguments. So how about we say first premise is sorry, all right. Let's just say the first premise is P arrow Q. The second premise, let's say, is Q. And then we want to add in the conclusion. Let's say the conclusion is P. So I press the turnstile. Come on. There we go. And I put in P. So now it fills in a truth table. So if I give you a sequence and ask you to do, let's say, a brief truth table, or if I had asked you to do a full truth table, you could do that right in here. And that way, again, you can check your truth table. It makes it very easy. You still have to sort of save it and then type it into Blackboard because of how I'm having you do it on Blackboard. So I don't know how much of a savings it is, but it does help you know for sure that you've got things right, which is definitely a savings in terms of later effort, right? You can do your trial and error here in the software, and then when you go and enter your answers in Blackboard, you'll know they're right and you'll get mastery on the first try, which is absolutely, right, important for the learning modules and also for the timed assessments. I don't know how well it'll work with doing this with the timed assessments. I don't mind if you do, because it's not cheating to do this, because you are doing all of the work, or at least most of the work of the truth table. You're doing all the work that really matters, all that isn't just purely mechanical, right? When you're figuring out, so entering like the base columns, right? That's just purely mechanical. And where I'm testing your knowledge is how you apply, what do those truth values mean given the statements that you have on that row? So, given the state where P is true and Q is true, what is the truth value of P arrow Q? That's what I want to know that you can figure out. So this just lets you have to figure it out, right? This just lets you check your answers. But I don't know how well it will work with the timed assessments just because of the time constraints. And also the way, like, once you open them, a timed assessment, you can't like close it down and come back to it later. And what might happen when you like open up this software, first of all, it takes over your computer. You can't easily toggle back and forth between them. It might be easy to lose track of time. And also something could go wrong and it could accidentally submit while you're in the process. And then it'll just be wrong because you won't have finished it. So I kind of don't suggest that you use this for the timed assessments. I just think it would probably end up being problematic. So it's risky.